it is a pleasure for me to be hosting this program this evening. It's a pleasure for me to be seeing all of you. I thank you for being here. So welcome to this session on the most significant lesson that leaders can learn from play. This session is part of our self-leadership series. We also have the series on neurosemantics, the meta-coaching system, and parenting. And I would like to welcome you, those of you who are familiar with this session, and if you are joining for the first time, I welcome you, and I hope that you gain something of value out of the discussion that we are going to have in a moment. I'm Mazuki. I'm a neurosemantics trainer and meta coach, and I help people like you to systematically develop skills in leading, communicating, and coaching to bring out the best in yourself and others. In the 60 to 90 minutes together, we'll be discussing on the one most significant lesson from play. That will be coming around very quickly in a bit. Then we'll also be looking into the 7 qualities of leadership to be gained from that lesson. And the third one is we'll be going through the mindsets that will amplify the game. This session is inspired by an article called "This is the most important leadership skill you can learn from play," which was written by a creativity strategist, Natalie Dixon. I will pause for discussion after each main point. This is to invite questions or comments and contributions from each and every one of you. And if you are also the type who thinks out loud, you are most welcome to share your thoughts at that moment. As usual, I'd like to remind you that my style is to be light and humorous. So if I laugh or smile, I'm never laughing at you, but at our silly human qualities. My purpose is to lighten things up, reduce being too serious, and be more real. Now, in this particular topic that I've chosen, I go back into how we humans develop. Babies engage in play from the time that they were born. Play is how babies learn to survive, live, and succeed. Play is synonymous with learning, and that is not just for children. It is true for adults as well. So the question that you may ask yourself is, what games do you play? Are you the kind who play the outdoor games, or are you the kind who play the video game with friends? And nowadays, video games are connected online. You can play against one another when you are apart as well. Now, for some people, they are into those physical games, going to the beach. In my case, I love going into the forest. I play games especially with my little grandchildren. And for some people, it is more the mental play. Sometimes it's the low-key evenings that you have games like board games or whatever. Now, play has a lot of valuable lessons for us. It turns out that playing games amplifies important executive leadership skills. And that is why I notice, especially in the States, the encouragement for people to play games. Universities and colleges, they are encouraging the students to play games because this helps in some of powerful leadership skills that people can learn. So if we were to look at some most popular executive leadership skills that a person may learn from playing games, this will be active listening, negotiation, collaboration, curiosity, empathy, deep observation, and check this one out, building a strategy outlined by tactics. and the ability to anticipate what's next, because isn't that what you do in games? And all of these leadership skills are important and very useful for us leaders to learn. So these are some of the skills that as leaders we learn through playing game. Now, what I want to bring to you for this evening is that there's another significant lesson from play. And I call this the one most significant lesson that you can gain from play, because from this lesson, a lot of other leadership skills you begin to develop. You develop from this one particular lesson from play. And it is not such a big guess. If I were to ask you to guess what it is, I'm sure you'll be able to guess this very easily. So the one most significant lesson from play is loss. The one most significant lesson from play is loss.
I was going to say how to have fun.
Yes, that's an important. However, this is one area. Thank you, Tessie, for saying that. This is one area that is overlooked. People go into the fun, into the goal achievement part of the lessons that you learn from play. However, this one gives you, opens up a lot of opportunities for other skills for us to create. Now, learning how to lose, the key word is on the how to lose, may arguably be the most important benefit of engaging in play. As children, we inherently understand that when we faced off with the neighborhood kids for a game of football or netball or badminton or basketball, there was always that 50-50 chance that we would lose. There are days that we win and there are days that we lose. In fact, that was part of the allure of the challenge. We could win or we could lose. Losing is an inevitable part of play. Shortly, we will be discussing the 7 qualities we gain when we lose. When we lose, there are 7 qualities that we stand to gain. However, in order to gain those qualities, it requires the skill of handling loss. So for us to learn from this one particular lesson, we need to learn how to lose. Without this skill of handling loss, we will not avail ourselves to these lessons. Winning or losing through play gives us the skill for handling loss. And if I were to remember my younger days when I was playing, when I was in school, I was playing volleyball. And those of you who have met me physically, you'll be wondering, how can a short guy like you ever play volleyball? Since I don't have the height, I use my fingers to do the setting. So I was the setter, so I don't really need the height. Now, whenever I think about the games that I play in volleyball, the one that stood out the most was a game that we played against this school from Sᴇʟ-Lᴇᴅ. This school is called Sung-Ching. The previous year, they were the Perak champions. And we were gunning for the title for the Perak championship. And we were doing very well that particular year. Now, the reason why this one stood out was because we lost to Sung-Ching. So I did not remember it because we won, but I remembered it most because we lost it. Not that we like losing. Boys, we don't like losing. It's just that the manner that they beat us We fought them tooth and nail for 5 sets in order to win the game, starting at 4 in the afternoon. We finished almost at 6:30, almost 7. We were fighting for every point. And when we lost that game, it was with satisfaction that we lost to a greater team. So this is something that when I think about my volleyball playing days, what stood out was the game that we lost, not the games that we won. So this is why I say that in order for us to learn the 5 lessons that I'm going to bring out, 7 qualities that we gain when we lose, the prerequisite for us in order for us to be able to learn these 7 qualities is that we need to have the skill of handling loss. The thing about playing games is that we win, we lose, we win, we lose so many times that we have conditioned ourselves to be able to take in the loss, and from there we are able to learn those lessons. So before I go into those 7 qualities, I'd like to pause here to give any one of you an opportunity to voice out your opinion or any questions that you have so far. So the one significant lesson that we learn from play is loss. So go ahead. Tessie, anything from you?
I was just saying I might reveal too much, because when you are in your body and you're not thinking, you are spontaneous, you know, you lose your mind and come to your senses. So everything that's in you, boom, just comes out. Yeah, so your relationship to winning and to authority and to everything else comes out.
Yeah. Thank you. So that's why learning to lose is very important. And there are 7 qualities. Those 7 qualities are really essential for us as leaders to have. Yeah. Sᴇʟ, welcome into the room. Glad that you're able to join us.
I'm late, just parked my car.
Yes, anyone else has got any questions or comments?
Yeah, this losing in the game, my observation is among my grandchildren. When we were playing together, like we play football, and one of the youngest of my grandchild, a 5-year-old boy, he can never lose. When he lost, oh, I don't like losing. I hate losing.
Yeah.
This is not fair, he said. And that, I think, to most people, if they don't study about neurosemantics, then they bring that into their adult life.
Yeah, yeah. So thank you, Hashim. So this is where playing games condition us, teach us how to be able to adapt or accept losses. Yeah. Okay. So let's move to the 7 qualities of leadership to begin from this lesson, the lesson of losing. The first quality is the quality of humility. Humility. The etymology of humility can be traced to the Latin humus, literally on the ground. Being forced down through loss doesn't necessarily feel good. And for most people, it's hard to take, it's painful. But you must admit it's great for building perspective. And that's what being humble is all about. Less focus on yourself and extending your point of view to consider others. The opposite of humility is pride, arrogance, and conceit. pride is the antithesis of success. Maybe some of you have heard of the saying, pride comes before the fall. And this is something that from a friend of mine who shared his own personal, I would say, career story. He said by the age of 25, he was already a multi-millionaire. And he went to that state whereby he was so proud of his achievement to the extent that he thought that he could never fail. Yeah? And his story for us is that when he reached to that point, that was when he went bankrupt, because he did not have that humility in the sense that sometimes people, when they succeed, they overlook the fact that they got there with the help of others, thinking that they got there only by themselves. So this is the first lesson that we learn from humility. And I would like to ask Rosita, my wife, you would like to share something regarding this first point? Go ahead.
Yes, I remember when I was 8. At that time I was the youngest, so I always get my way, and my sister always had to be the one that lose. And we have neighbors, and I remember playing, and because I was rather what's the word, very fast, very what's the word? Cakap, what is it in English?
Skill, competent.
Competent, yes. And I always win. And one day, I remember I lose. I can't exactly remember how it happened. And I was very angry that I lose. And I do not want to accept that I lose. And so my sister said bluntly to me that you always want to win. You cannot, you always want to win. Even though you lose, you think that you still want to win. And in a way, the way that he told me really caused me to realize that, oh, I have been arrogant all this while. So I took that, and I think it was the first time that I feel this feeling of not competent, not good enough, and all that, and that caused me to be angry. And I realized that okay, next time I'll do better. I think along the way, that was about 8 years old, along the way I realized that to do better, you need to first be in humbleness, in humility, to accept that, okay, you lose. So you're not all that good anyway. So what can you do? Not to grumble, or not to be like throwing tantrum. You got to learn. So I think that, as you said just now, that is the fun part, actually, to realize that you are not invisible. You don't know everything, and the only way to improve is to learn and to practice and to get better. So that's what I learned from that losing.
Right. Thank you for sharing that. So that's the first attribute from losing.
You have not heard that story yet, right?
No, I haven't.
After 42 years of marriage.
There were more exciting things to share.
She's sharing with me that story after 42 years of marriage.
There's always something new.
Thank you. Yeah. Let's take the second point. After humility, it's resilience. Resilience. If you truly want to innovate over the long haul, then you'll need to develop a healthy portion of resilience. That's because the path to innovation is littered with mistakes and mishaps. Losing helps us to accumulate the wherewithal to follow through, to show up again and commit to, when you fall, to get up and do it again, and you fall again and get up and do it again and again and again. I remember Robert Kiyosaki mentioning that the person who is highly successful in life, the millionaire, is not the one who doesn't fall. It's not the one who doesn't make mistake. It's just that he gets up one more time more than the mistakes or failures that he made. Yeah. The opposite of resilience is hopelessness, defeatism, and despair. And when a person is consumed by that hopelessness and despair, they quit. The successful person is not the one who doesn't fail. It's not the one who doesn't lose. It's the one who gets up after falling down. So that's what resilience all about. So when we play games, especially if you play games competitively and at levels which are slightly higher than your skill level, you are going to lose more. And by getting up again and again and again and again, you are conditioning yourself to just get up after the fall. Yeah, I was just having a discussion with a friend just now. When I say friend, he attended my training program more than 10 years ago. And when his company wanted to conduct team building program, he thought of me, and he went looking around in order to connect with me again. And through Facebook, we were able to connect with one another. And just now, I had a meeting with him, and he was telling me about how after resigning from the previous company that he was working in, he went through several initiatives, several work that he went through in order to be where he is now. So it's about falling down and getting up, falling down and getting up, and falling down and getting up. And that is what we are referring to as resilience. So that's the second one. Yeah. Now, moving to the third one, this is my favorite. When you lose, it's a huge opportunity to not take yourself too seriously. If you're honest with yourself, there's probably some self-effacing moment you can find. The ability to laugh at the situation provides a buffer and softens the blow to the ego. Laughter is a catalyst for our body to emit serotonin, so it's good for your health. The opposite of humor is depression, seriousness, and melancholy. So that is why in neurosemantics we say that if you get serious, you get stupid. So this is where when you engage in play, what happens is that what happens is that we win and we lose, we win and we lose. So what we do is that we do not take that losses personally. Yeah, and I noticed the point Rosita put in the chat box in a short while. So I'm going to now invite her to just elaborate on this point. Go ahead.
Sorry, I'm eating, sayang. Just had my dinner. Okay. Actually, when especially I'm just looking at little kids, it's very important for parents to allow them to lose, because sometimes to lose, because that teach them to be not cocky, not arrogant, to have humility. At the same time, and actually to know that actually for someone to accept and to laugh, to have humor and to see that I made a mistake. It is really somebody who is do not equate his ability, his position, his possession to his esteem, self-esteem, because self-esteem is unconditional. But most people, they equate that. When they equate that, then they feel that they lose everything. So it is true what you mentioned just now, that when you get serious, you get stupid, because the thing is that we cannot see the learning in that losing. So I remember in attending, when I attend Money and You, when we play game and between two teams, we always say that learning teams and the losing, the winning team and the learning teams, because we learn a lot from losing. Actually, we learn about our competency, we learn about our mindset, we learn about where we are, the skill that we have, the belief that we have inside of us. So maybe that is what I want to elaborate. And the point is that to realize that losing is just like having a mirror in front of you and say, okay, this is the area that you need to improve. This is the area that you are strong at, and to know yourself better. So when you take it that way, it is not about, it is not personal in the sense that it makes you feel that you are less than anybody in the ability to be the best that you can be.
Thank you for saying that. So that's why the third section of this this discussion for this evening, I will go into the mindsets that will allow us to gain the maximum. Because losing, as what we are discussing right now, losing is through play teaches us all of these things, allows us to accumulate all of these attributes of leadership. However, losing is not for everybody. You need to have a certain mindset in order for you to gain that maximum. So that in the third part, we'll be discussing what kind of mindsets do you need in order to be good at losing. So we'll be covering that in the third section. And just what Rosita was mentioning just now, that it's hard for people to lose or to be proven wrong. I remember this particular incident very well. I can't remember when, but Rosita, at one time, she wanted to, I don't know whether I told you this story. I think I told you this story before, Ji. You want to embark on a project and I disagree on that particular project. And you said that you wanted to go ahead with it. So you went on ahead with it. And then I think many months after that, it did not work out for you. And I remember you coming to me and you said that it did not work. You were right. You said that to me. And that's a big shock to me, actually. Just kidding. But not as much as it was a big shock, but it was a disappointment. Somehow, at that time, I was disappointed to be proven right. The reason being, if I was right, then there's only very little thing that I can learn. If I had been proven wrong, then there will be so many more things that I could have learned from your success. So
and one thing is that happened many times, right? Except when you say that I want to proceed, I don't actually know which one because there's a lot.
So
Okay.
it was a big project and you lost some money.
Yeah, I think I know which one you're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah. I remember my response was disappointment. And I was thinking, why am I disappointed to be proven right? And I came to the point, okay, had I been proven wrong, I would have learned something much more valuable than that. Yeah. So these are things that losing teaches us. So let's move on to the next attribute that we learn from losing. And this one is iteration. And to me, this is very important because at the end of the day, everything is about the build, it's about the project, it's about the outcome that we want. So when we lose, when you lose, you say to yourself, because of that, what you have lost, because of that, I know now that I can do this and this and this. I can incorporate this. So what happens is that by losing then, you begin to notice where you did not go right. And because of that, you bring that into the next iteration of doing it so that now you can make small corrections. So you know that you never fully arrive at the destination. So you don't let perfection be the enemy of good. Instead, identify what the circumstance of loss, the detail of the loss, and to help you to incorporate into your evolving toolkit so that when you do it the next time, now you incorporate the next iteration. Just like I believe you are all familiar by now, each and every one of us, we have computers, we have handsets and all that. So notice that, for example, like the Mac OS, they release Mac OS version 12, and then you will be version 12.1, then version 12.1.1. So now I noticed that Mac OS Monterey, which is not yet a year old, it is already version 12.5.1. So the iterative process to make small changes, to make corrections. Yeah. So when I say this, I remember my eldest granddaughter, the eldest grandchild, Grasshopper, when she learned how to skip. And then when Nemi asked her, "Oh, Azahra, how do you learn to do that very well?" And her answer was, practice, 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 Nemi. So you iterate that process in order to make it better, just a little bit better, just a little bit better, just a little bit better. And we learn that through losing. Yeah? The opposite of iteration is instant, original, or something fixed. So you are focused on something that is already perfect. It must work. And when you are thinking in that manner, then you become inflexible and rigid. And we live today in the VUCA world, volatile, uncertain, complex, ambiguous. We learn in this world, we cannot have the model that will work 100%. So this concept, this attribute of iteration, to iterate something over and over, making small changes in order to get it right. So that's that next point. Okay, so moving on to the next one, the next quality of leadership that can be gained from this lesson of loss is metacognitive awareness. Every situation in which we have lost or failed should prompt us to reflect and practice self-inquiry. Deep reflection spurs us to unpack what went wrong as well as what we can learn from others, learning from mistakes, making small corrections. So the question that we want to ask is, how did it go wrong? Because it will reveal to us the process once we look at the process, we understand that this is the process that brought us to the loss. So we begin to ask, what if I were to change this element? What if I were to change this step over here? So that is how we go into bringing ourselves into that awareness. The opposite to awareness is ignorance, disregard, and apathy. And when we are stuck in that ignorance and disregard, we are not learning. We are not gaining anything new. And when that happens, we stick ourselves to the previous strategy and we repeat the failed strategies. And that is how we defeat ourselves in life. So let me just pause here just to check with any one of you if you've got any thoughts or comments that you would like to make. So 2 points I mentioned just now, the point on iteration and also metacognitive awareness. Anybody would like to comment or ask question?
I'm presuming that these awarenesses or these capabilities are trained as one progresses as a leader or builds one's leadership skills. Because many places don't train these step back skills.
Yes, I absolutely agree with you, because especially when we talk about iteration, schools are not doing our children much favor in that particular area. I mentioned to Rosita what I'm noticing now and compared to what we went through. For example, I notice schools today, they all of a sudden the students are expected to turn up to school when they have that what do they call it? Last time we call it cross country, but it is that kind of long distance run.
And rentas desa, is it?
Sorry,
we call rentas desa about 3 km around kind of thing only, right?
Rentas desa, not very accurate description, because there was no desa.
In Taman actually.
So how could those poor kids learn these skills when the teachers were such poor examples?
Absolutely. The thing about it is that living quite close to schools, I never noticed them practice until the day that when they are supposed to perform. So they are not taught how to iterate the process.
Much less step back. How did it go wrong?
And I remember during my school days, the first term, for 3 months, twice a week, we will go for cross-country practice. And checks you, our cross-country that time, we run through the town, we go through the back lanes, we go through the rubber estate.
Understand.
And to be able to come back. So twice a week for 3 months, we'll practice. And then at the end of term, we have the cross-country race. So that process of practice was built in. And in today's schools, I don't notice that anymore. So absolutely, Tessie, when you said that, how are they trained in order to get these attributes? So this is where when we open up the avenue for our children through play, through play is where they are supposed to learn all of this.
But some certain extent, we cannot say the school never teach them or prepare them. Because when the school want to do all this, many parents are objection. They say they cannot, it's very dangerous. No, then what if thing happen? Then of course, school, okay, forget about it. That's it. You see, so we cannot blame the school. Actually, a lot of things I would say that today is blame the parents, so it's not about the school. Yeah, personal opinion.
Yeah, thank you, Chaksu. The parents have a lot of pressure on schools.
Actually, see, even though the school marching band now want to, the practice for the National Day parade kind of things, every afternoon now, the march for 2 hours under the hot sun get complained already. So, well, in the school compound, then what else can be done? To cross country, forget about it.
Yeah.
They say life endangered activity, this one.
Yeah. Okay. So that's why Rosita and I, we always keep reminding ourselves that it takes a whole village to raise a child. Right. So let's take the next 2 points. The next one is modeling constructive behaviors. So this is another quality of leadership that we gain through losing. When we play, the lesson that we learn from play is a loss. So this is one of the 7 qualities of leadership that can be gained from the lesson of loss. Your colleagues are observing not only how you behave in good times, but also how you respond to defeat. So in the corporate environment, in the home as well, keep this in mind when you or your team lose. Modeling any of these behaviors will serve as excellent reminders to your team of how to conduct themselves. People model you. So when, for example, in the sports arena, when you win, people notice how you behave. When you lose, people also notice how you behave. So this is what we are referring to, modeling behaviors. So through play, when you learn how to behave in ways that are respectable when you lose, this helps people to model these constructive behaviors. The opposite to this is modeling unconstructive behaviors. And we need to remind ourselves this, that people model our behaviors, whether they are constructive or unconstructive. So that's why learning how to lose when we play is a very critical, I will use the word conditioning process to ourselves. We are conditioning ourselves to lose in a way that is resourceful to others, that can be constructively modeled by others. Okay, and the final one that I have for this evening is grace. This is an attribute that we learn from losing when we play. The expression game knows game is relevant here. Your ability to offer respect for the opponent you beat, thereby encouraging mutual respect, is super important. So how do you offer respect to the opponent that you beat and also the opponent who beats you? This is what is termed as sportsmanship behavior. Yeah. So it is when you lose, how do you behave? How do you respond to that? And in the sports arena today, we can notice that happening. We can notice certain sports people, men and women, when they win, they are magnanimous in the win. And when they lose, they are respectful of the opponent. However, the opposite of grace is awkwardness, incompetence, and inaptitude. And when people don't have this attribute, they become sore losers. They are not accepting of the loss, not accepting of the situation, like what Rosita was mentioning when she was 8 years old, not accepting that She lost. And because of that, when there is no acceptance, there is no learning. So to be graceful in defeat, in loss, is a very important attribute that we want to learn. Because without that graceful acceptance of the defeat or loss, there is no learning. The key thing is about learning. Okay, so let me just summarize the 7, and then we can open up for more discussion. The first point, the first attribute that there is gain for our leadership ability from losing in play is the attribute of humility. The next one is resilience. The third one is humor. The fourth one is iteration. The fifth one is metacognitive awareness. Number 6 is modeling constructive behaviors. And number 7 is grace. So there we are, the 7 qualities of leadership that we can gain from losing when we play. So that's why play is a very important lesson for us as leaders. So I'd like to open up for discussion before we move to the final point for this evening. So I'd like to invite any one of you, if you have any comments or questions that you may want to ask. So go ahead.
Is it only through play that we learn these 7 what shall I say, capabilities? Is this only for a leader, I'm saying, in the context of leadership? I suppose
I hesitate to answer it is only through play, because there may be other areas. However, when we look at these qualities, the thing about play is that we win and we lose frequently. So it gives us the opportunity to condition ourselves. For example, losing the first time. Where's that humility? No, it's not there.
Yeah.
It's just that we play so many times, we lose more and more and more, and then we temper that arrogance with more and more humility. So we are growing that part of to be humble. Same with resilience as well. Sometimes the first time that you lose, you just don't want to get up again. But
yeah, I'm just thinking that how important it is to have like a coach to go meta and to show the subjects, you know, this is what it is, break it down, break it down.
Yes, that is useful. At the same time, through play, you are bringing it into the neurology, not just semantics. Yeah. Into the neurology.
Nice. Yeah, thank you.
Anyone else has got any comments with respect to these 7 qualities? We've got just a dot over there. Is that a dot, a full stop? I don't know your name. You have it there. Do you have any comments? Madhu as well? Are you good? Right? If you're good, then we'll move on to the final point for this evening. It relates to the mindsets that we need to have that will amplify the gain. So as I mentioned earlier, losing is not for everybody. There needs to be a healthy mindset. Only then we can lose in a way that helps us to develop those qualities. So I'll start off with 2 mindsets. These are these 2 mindsets come from the NLP presuppositions. So the first presupposition is there is no failure, only feedback. So having this mindset that there is no failure, so when I lose, when I fail in my endeavor, when I play this game, I don't win, I take that as feedback. So I'm healthily looking into, so how did I manage to win? How did I manage to lose by such a large margin? I must be really good in losing to be able to look at it and then be taking the feedback. So what can I learn from this? What can I learn from this? What can I learn from this? So when we have this mindset, there is no failure. The experience of losing doesn't push us into despair or sadness or lay blame or justifying. It pushes us up into the level of responsibility, to take responsibility for what I did and didn't do that caused this, and what can I learn from this, and what changes can I make for the future. So this is the mindset of from the presupposition of NLP, we call it, there is no failure, only feedback. So that's one mindset. The second mindset is also from the presupposition of NLP, we call it, humans have the ability to experience one trial learning. One trial learning, meaning to say, we experience something, if it doesn't work out, we have the ability to figure things out. And for the last, I would say a few weeks, I've been talking to those who are close to me about this documentary I'm watching on Netflix. It's called Babies. It's so mind-boggling to see how babies, they are such fast learners, meaning to say they'll do something, and when they notice it doesn't work, they'll just change how to do it the next time. So this is what I have in mind when I put this here. Humans have the ability to experience one trial learning. So when we have this mindset that it's okay for me to try it out, because if it doesn't work, I have the ability to figure out, to use my brain, to run my brains in the best possible way, and to change my strategies the next time so that I can succeed in the next one. So this one is with respect to two mindsets that when we bring, it will amplify that gain from losing. So when people have this mindset, then they become better learners when they lose. They have, I mentioned the word I mentioned earlier, they have the skill for handling loss. So without this mindset, then the person may not be ready to handle loss. Next three things I want to bring here relates to meta programs, the way that we are running our brain, the pattern, our thinking pattern. The first meta program is the meta program of self-esteem. So self-esteem, on one end of the spectrum, we have conditional self-esteem. The other is unconditional self-esteem. Now, the healthy self-esteem is unconditional. That's the healthy self-esteem. When a person has unconditional self-esteem, then that person's self-esteem is not conditional on winning. So win or lose doesn't affect their self-esteem. So when a person is running the self-esteem healthily, then the person is ready to lose, is ready to handle loss in a healthy way. Now, when the self-esteem is conditional upon winning, then that will create distorted frames and unresourceful states. So if a person's self-esteem is conditional, then that person is not ready to handle loss. Okay, so this is the meta program that will help us to handle loss better. So it will be to work on ourselves so that our self-esteem will be unconditional. Okay. Next meta program is the meta program of self-confidence. On one end of the scale is the confidence that is low. On the other end of the spectrum, there is the high confidence. And then you have the in between. Now, the thing about confidence is a function of competency. So when a person has healthy confidence, the person knows that I feel this confidence in doing something that comes from my skill in doing that. And when I feel not confident in doing something, that comes from my lack of skill. So when a person's self-confidence is healthy meaning to say confident when you are skilled in that particular area and not confident in the areas that you are not skilled in. So that's healthy. Yeah? It's unhealthy to be confident in an area that you are not skilled in. That's dangerous. And also not healthy for you to not feel confident in the areas that you are skilled in. So you are putting yourself down in that area. So when a person has healthy confidence, then when that person wins, that winning feeds that confidence, because winning tells you that, hey, I'm getting better in this, and that feeds that confidence. And losing invites awareness, humility, and resilience. So when you are running your meta program of self-confidence healthily, being confident in the areas of your skill and not confident in the area that you are not skilled at, and everything else in between. So what happens is that when you win, you generate more confidence, because winning is informing you that you are doing things well, you are getting skill in it. And when you don't win, when you suffer a loss, all that is telling you, hey, you are not that as skilled as you think you are. So how can you increase that particular skill in order for you to win the next time? So this is where losing invites that awareness, humility, and resilience. And the third meta program that I would like to bring to our attention this evening is the meta program of ego strength. Ego strength on the one end of the scale, one end of the spectrum, is the unstable and weak ego. And the other end of the spectrum is strong and stable. Yeah. So the healthy ego strength is when the ego is strong and stable. When you have a strong and stable ego strength, then that invites humility, humor, and resilience. Now, when a person has unstable and weak ego strength, that may create the blaming game, which is about transferring the responsibility that is supposed to be yours onto others. So a person who has weak and unstable ego may not have the necessary skill to handle a loss. However, a person with strong and stable ego strength, they have that capability to handle loss. So that's why I'm now reflecting in the context of coaching. So that's why when we coach, we want to be able to have a sense of where our client's ego strength is, because part of coaching is challenging. So if a client is having unstable and weak ego, then the challenge that we put to the client needs to take that into account. So probably we challenge the client to small steps at a time in order to help the client have a healthy ego strength. However, a client who have a strong and stable ego, you keep challenging the client, and that client will continue to grow and develop further and faster. Okay, so these are the I consider 5 mindsets that I am bringing to you that will amplify the gain. The gain here meaning to say the ability to handle loss. The first one is the mindset of there is no failure, only feedback. The second one is the mindset that humans have the ability to experience one trial learning. The third one is a meta program that is unconditional. The fourth one is the self-confidence that is healthily moving according to the competencies that you have. And the fifth one is a strong and stable ego. So ego strength. So when you have this in place, then it gives you that greater ability to handle loss. And when you are able to do that, then learning all the 7 characteristics or qualities that we mentioned earlier becomes all that much easier. Otherwise, that person who doesn't have these mindsets may have difficulty in handling loss, and consequently, they are not able to derive all of those qualities for themselves. So let me just stop there with that and just open up for questions and comments. So go ahead.
Can you say more about this one trial learning thing?
So this is one of the presuppositions we talked about in NLP. The presupposition is humans have the ability to experience one trial learning. So a person who is healthy, when they strategize and do something and they do not get their results that they want, they have this ability to step back and run their brain in a way to identify what's not working right and what's working right, and make changes from there. So this is what we refer to as one trial learnings, that as human beings, especially, you notice this especially with children, that's why they are so quick in order to learn. They do something, they are quick to notice what did not work, and they'll make the change from there. So human beings from birth, they don't need to learn things over and over, to experience things over and over again in order for them to learn. One experience is enough for them to learn. What's preventing that? Maybe there are some social frames being put around, gender frames being put around that prevents them from learning. However, as a human organism, we are already equipped to do that. I mentioned to you, I'm currently watching this documentary on babies. They did an what I call MRI scan on babies as young as 2 months old. And what they discovered was at 2 months old, all their brain processing centers are operating exactly the way that adult brains are operating. So this is where, from the perspective of Glenn Dorman, he says that when a child is born, their brains are operating at 100%. Even though the size is smaller, all the functions are already there. So the major function at birth is the function for learning. So when I'm also allowing this new information I'm learning from babies to inform me about this, that humans have the ability for one trial learning. So that's why you notice in babies, they learn so fast. It's just that for us, as we become adults, we have put so much cultural frames, gender frames, that when we make mistakes, we find difficulty in learning and making changes from those mistakes because of all those unresourceful frames. Babies, they don't have those frames, and because of that, they can learn so much faster.
So the cognitive distortion of emotionalizing, making our past experience true for now as it was before. If it was wrong before, we think that it's going to be wrong again, which is, you know, the past is no predictor of the future, right?
Yeah.
That kind of frame. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. That's why I'm still amazed at every opportunity that when I interact with children, I'm still amazed at how fast they learn, how quickly they change their strategies. We adults, we hold on to those.
Too serious. It's too serious. We get stupid.
Yeah, thank you. That's it. So that basically wraps up what I want to cover for this evening. The main point that I've brought for this evening is that the one significant lesson that we learn from play is loss. Because when we learn to handle loss, we are able to develop all of the 7 qualities of leadership. And all of the 7 qualities of leadership are critical for us to function effectively as leaders. The quality of humility, the quality of resilience, the quality of humor, the quality of iteration, the quality of metacognitive awareness, modeling constructive behaviors, and grace. Yeah. And in order for us to be able to develop those qualities in ourselves to help us become better handlers of loss, to be able to handle loss better, I spoke about the 5 things. 2 mindset, there is no failure, only feedback. Then humans have the ability to experience one trial learning. And then 3 meta programs: self-esteem, unconditional, self-confidence, able to move in between according to our competencies, and also having a strong and stable ego strength. Those 5 things, in my opinion, help us to be able to manage loss better in order to help us to develop all of those qualities. So we've come to the end of the session, and now this is the exciting part for me, because I would like to hear from you. What is your learning takeaway from the session today? And as usual, I would like to start off with the bottom of my screen. So Mokshidisi, now your screen has gone to right to the very bottom. I'd like to invite Mokshidisi.
Okay. Yes, so it is the qualities that we learn from losing, you know, to be like humility, resilience, you know, those qualities that we learn from losing.
Thank you. Thank you for that, Mokshidisi. Next, Madhu, go ahead. Are you able to access your mic? No? Thank you. Next is the dot or decimal or full stop. Are you able to access your mic? No? Okay, we'll move on to Sᴇʟ. So go ahead, Sᴇʟ. What's your learning takeaway for today?
My learning is you must be, strong, confident, and with high esteem for you to take loss. Easily kind of things. You see, as you say, I'm not losing. It's just like another lesson learned kind of thing. You see, so yeah, it's because a lot of time is like because we cannot take it because we keep on, because I think since young since childhood also parents take us compare with others. How come people like that you cannot? Then that's why I make us that we want to win, kind of things. You see, because we keep on comparing with each other. That's why when we so-called not at the standard kind of thing, then say, you want kind of thing. That's why make us we don't want to lose. If you lost, that means something very bad kind of things. You see, so that's why I think we have to start from us, not to compare our kids to someone else, all this kind of thing, so that to stop all this kind of thing, because or else is like it's still a circle kind of thing. We cannot break through that. And then you will keep on making people feel bad when they lose or they cannot achieve or whatever kind of things. So this is my way.
Wow, thank you for that, Cik Shu. Appreciate that. Moving on to Kim. Go ahead.
Mazuki, I found the whole session so enlightening, and the deep impression that I've got from this whole session falls back to the important role that a coach plays, even in a real life situation, for a person who is really literally playing a game or playing something. The question of winning and losing comes in, and today's topic about learning how to lose, it is so absolutely important for anybody to have a good, reliable coach who can teach these various qualities of leadership and these 5 aspects of the mindset. I cannot help but feel so overwhelmed by the fact that the topic, the topic itself covers so much. And this is something which everybody, because we're all playing in the game of life, even to be able to take all these learnings and apply it really on a daily basis. And for that, Mazuki, I really wish to thank you for that sharing. I've learned a lot, and I am so delighted that I could make it today.
Thank you for that, Kim. Really appreciate you speaking in that passionate way for that. Yes, thank you, Kim. Yes, Cik Siew, you want to add something?
No, I want to add something, you see, because just now you said we have to learn to lose kind of thing, but sometimes like, for example, when we want to achieve something, we set a target to achieve kind of thing. But however, for whatever reason, we are not able to achieve it kind of thing, is it also is like sort of a losing kind of thing? It can say by not achieving a target is losing. Can we say that or not?
Yes, I would put it under that category. We have a target to achieve and we don't achieve that. That's a loss. So as human beings, how do we feel? And part of the attributes of a leader is having that achievement drive. So when you drive yourself to achieve a certain goal and you don't achieve that goal, huge energy will come out, the emotion, that frustration, maybe anger, and it's okay for you to feel that. So because that's part of a leader has got strong achievement drive, and they will not give flimsy excuses for not achieving that. It's just that to be able to balance it with the grace of accepting defeat.
Okay.
So
like one of our friend, but today she's not here. She want to achieve 10,000 steps per day kind of thing. When she cannot achieve, she's like,
yeah.
Sorry.
I mean, it's okay for you to feel frustrated or angry or even sad when you don't achieve your goal. It's okay. That's part of human emotions.
Actually, I experienced this last night before I sleep. When I look at my counter, my step counter, it's like, shit, another 25 steps to 16,000 steps. So I wake up and then jump to make 16,000 only go sleep. Yeah.
Yeah, good one. Yeah. So thank you for saying that. Next, I'd like to move to Tessie. Go ahead, Tessie.
My takeaway is, as usual, I'm in awe of your your smoothness in handling the class. It flows so nicely. It's so easy to participate and absorb. So thank you for that.
Thank you. Appreciate that coming from you, Tessie. Appreciate that very much. Thank you. And last but not least, Hashim, go ahead.
Yeah, I always love this kind of conversation because for me it is practical in the sense that I can apply to my immediate family. When I talk about immediate family, I'm talking about my son plays video game remotely with my grandson. And my son was, we were having conversation that day that sometimes the grandson lost and he was not happy. and my son said, it's only a game. There's nothing. It's only a game. Also now I have more bullets to put into that conversation to have the learning conversation on what losing means in a game, and that would be 7 points is great points to talk over dinner or lunch. Thank you, Maluki.
Thank you very much for that, Hashim. So I appreciate your mentioning that, and this is also the point that you mentioned that just now triggered a thought in me that as leaders, we do not want to give the excuse that it's only a game. Because when we set our goal, we are serious about achieving our goal. And when we don't achieve our goal, we don't give easy excuses that, oh, it's only a game. Oh, it's only a KPI that I don't achieve. So we do not want to give that easy excuse to ourselves that I'm angry, I don't achieve my goal. I'm frustrated to be able to experience that. It's just that as you allow yourself to experience that, to move into the acceptance that you have lost in this game, to not demean the achievement, to accept the strong emotion that you feel of not achieving it, and then to accept that, hey, I've not achieved it, and to bring that emotion in order to set out a new strategy. So thank you for saying that. So as you say that, I'm reminding myself as a parent and grandparent to not say to my grandchildren, it's only a game or whatever it is. Because when we do that, we are as if we are demeaning that particular achievement. No, we do not want to do that. Yeah. So thank you for raising that issue for that. So with that, everyone, it has been a pleasure and honor for me to be with you today. And I hope that with what you have gained from this session this evening, today, you'll put it to good use. So I look forward to seeing you in the next sessions that we have. So with that, I wish you a good day, good evening, and good night. May we meet again, healthy, wealthy, and wise. Thank you, everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.